Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night, maybe after a strange noise or a sudden ache, and realized just how quiet the house is? No one to call out to, no one to check on you, just you and the stillness. It's in moments like these that living alone can feel both freeing and, well, a little daunting. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Many of us find that as we get older, the little things, like changing a light bulb, cooking a meal just for one, or even filling the silence, can start to feel bigger than they used to. But here's the good news. With a little planning and some simple tricks, living independently can still be joyful, safe, and full of meaning. In this video, we'll talk about the real, everyday challenges of living solo in our later years. Things like staying safe in an emergency, keeping loneliness at bay, and making sure your home stays a comfortable place without wearing you out. We'll also share practical advice from folks who've been there, so you can take what works for you and leave the rest. Let's start with something we don't always want to think about, but absolutely need to: being your own protector. Because when you live alone, safety isn't just a nice idea. It's something you've got to take into your own hands. First, be your own protector in case of emergency. You know, one of the hardest things about living alone isn't just the quiet. It's the little voice in the back of your mind that whispers, what if something happens? Maybe you've had that thought when reaching for something on a high shelf or walking across a slippery floor. It's natural to worry, but the key is to turn that worry into action. Because here's the truth: when you live alone, you are your own first responder. Let's talk about some simple ways to stay safe. First, make sure someone, a neighbor, a friend, or family, knows your routine. A quick daily check-in, even just a text, can be a lifesaver. If you don't feel like bothering anyone, think of it this way: the people who care about you want to know you're okay. It's not a burden, it's love. Next, keep a phone within easy reach, day and night. A landline by the bed or a cell phone in your pocket can make all the difference if you take a fall. And speaking of falls, let's be honest, they're one of the biggest risks as we get older. So take a look around your home. Are there loose rugs? Cluttered hallways? A little rearranging now can save a lot of trouble later. Now, here's something many folks don't think about until it's too late: emergency alerts. A medical alert bracelet or a wearable emergency button isn't giving up your independence. It's protecting it. These days, there are even simple gadgets that don't require a monthly fee, just a one-time purchase. And finally, trust your instincts. If something feels off, maybe you're not feeling quite right, or you hear an odd noise, don't brush it aside. Call a neighbor, dial a friend, or even ring emergency services if needed. It's always better to be safe than sorry. Because here's the thing: safety isn't about fear, it's about freedom. When you know you've taken steps to protect yourself, you can relax and enjoy the peace of your own home. Second, loneliness can be a challenge. Let's talk about something we don't always say out loud: loneliness. Even if you've always been someone who enjoys your own company, there's a difference between choosing solitude and suddenly finding yourself in a house that's just too quiet. Maybe the kids don't call as often as you'd like, or friends have moved away. Or perhaps you've lost someone dear, and the empty space they left behind feels heavier than ever. Here's what's important to remember: feeling lonely doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're human. We're wired for connection, even those of us who love our independence. the good news. There are small, gentle ways to fill that space without changing who you are. First, consider the power of routine social moments. Something as simple as chatting with the cashier at the grocery store or waving to a neighbor on your daily walk can lift your spirits more than you'd think. These little interactions remind us we're part of a community. If you're ready to go a step further, technology can be a surprising ally. Video calls with family, online games with grandchildren, or even joining a virtual book club can bridge distances. Don't worry if screens feel intimidating. Start small. Many libraries offer free tech help for seniors, and there's no shame in asking a younger family member to show you the ropes. For those who prefer face-to-face connection, local senior centers often have activities that range from card games to gardening clubs. You might surprise yourself. Sometimes the friendships that matter most begin with a simple, "Mind if I join you?" over a cup of coffee. And remember, companionship doesn't always have to come from people. Pets, plants, even feeding birds in your garden can bring purpose and warmth to your days. The key is to find what feels right for you, not what others think you should do. Because here's the truth, loneliness might knock on your door sometimes, but you get to decide whether to invite it in for tea or send it on its way. Third, home maintenance becomes a burden. Remember when household chores used to be simple? A quick vacuum here, some light dusting there, no big deal. But these days, even changing a light bulb can feel like climbing Mount Everest. If you've found yourself staring at a leaky faucet or a dusty ceiling fan thinking, "I just don't have the energy for this anymore," you're definitely not alone. The truth is, our homes should be our safe havens, not sources of stress. That's why it's so important to recognize when it's time to ask for help. There's no shame in admitting that some tasks have become too difficult. In fact, being wise enough to know your limits is a sign of strength, not weakness. Start by making a list of what absolutely needs to be done versus what can wait. That squeaky door, probably not urgent, but a loose handrail, that's a safety priority. For the important tasks, consider building a network of reliable helpers. Many communities have handyman services specifically for seniors at reasonable rates. Sometimes local high schools or vocational programs offer free or low-cost help with basic repairs. It's worth asking around. Here's a little secret. Most people actually feel good when they help others. So when your neighbor's teenager offers to take out your trash or carry in groceries, they're not just being polite. They probably genuinely want to assist. You might even discover hidden talents in your social circle. Maybe your bridge partner's grandson is an electrician, or your old coworker's daughter runs a cleaning service. For ongoing maintenance, simple adaptations can make a world of difference. Switch to lightweight cleaning tools. Keep frequently used items within easy reach, and don't be afraid to invest in labor-saving devices like a robotic vacuum or a long-handled duster. Your future self will thank you. Remember, maintaining your independence doesn't mean doing everything yourself. It means being smart enough to know when to call in reinforcements. After all, you've spent a lifetime taking care of others. Now it's your turn to let the world take care of you a little. Fourth, daily routines become important. There's something comforting about that first cup of coffee in the morning. Isn't tea there? The way the sunlight hits your favorite chair, just right. The familiar creak of the floorboards as you move about your kitchen. When you live alone, these small rituals become more than just habits. They become the anchors of your day, giving structure to hours that might otherwise feel shapeless. You might have noticed that without the demands of work or family schedules, time can start to feel different. Some days fly by in a blink, while others seem to stretch on forever. That's why creating gentle routines is so important. Not rigid schedules that feel like obligations, but comforting patterns that help the day flow naturally. Start with simple anchors. Maybe it's making your bed each morning, even if no one will see it, or taking your daily walk after breakfast. These small acts of care for yourself and your space send a powerful message: my time matters. I matter. For many seniors living alone, mealtimes become important markers in the day. Instead of eating randomly from the fridge, try setting a place at the table, even if it's just for you. Light a candle, play some music, make it an occasion. You'll be surprised how much more satisfying a meal can feel when you treat it with respect. Afternoons can sometimes drag, so consider building in a transition ritual. Maybe it's a cup of tea and the crossword at 2 p.m. or calling a friend at the same time each day. These predictable moments give you something to look forward to and help prevent that lost in time feeling. Evenings are when routines matter most. A consistent wind-down ritual. Whether it's reading, knitting, or watching your favorite show, signals to your body and mind that the day is complete. Try to avoid napping too late in the day, as that can make nights feel lonelier. The beauty of these routines: they're entirely yours to design. Forget what you should do. Focus on what makes you feel grounded and content. Because when you live alone, your daily rhythms aren't just about passing time. They're about honoring your life. Fifth, cooking for one can be difficult but satisfying. Let's talk about something we all need to do, but can feel surprisingly complicated when you're on your own. Cooking. Remember when you used to make big family meals? Pots simmering on the stove, the table set for 4 or 5, leftovers packed away for tomorrow. Now, cooking for just yourself might feel, well, a little pointless sometimes. Why bother with all that effort when it's just you? But here's the thing: those meals are more than just food. They're acts of self-care. When you take the time to prepare something nourishing, you're sending yourself a message: I'm worth the effort. So how do we make cooking for one feel less like a chore and more like the gift it truly is? First, let's tackle the practical side. Those recipes meant for 4 people. Don't be afraid to cut them down. Many dishes freeze beautifully. Make a full batch of soup or stew, then portion it out for future meals. Invest in some good small portion containers, and suddenly you've got your own homemade TV dinners ready when you don't feel like cooking. Now, about the joy factor. Cooking for one means you get to make exactly what you want, exactly how you like it. Craving breakfast for dinner? Go for it. Want to eat the same meal 3 days in a row because you love it? No one's there to complain. This is your chance to rediscover foods you enjoy without compromise. Consider making meal prep a sensory experience. Put on some music while you chop vegetables. Light a candle. Set the table nicely, even if it's just for you. These small touches transform cooking from a task into a ritual. And remember, it's okay to keep it simple sometimes. A perfect sandwich with good bread and fresh ingredients can be just as satisfying as a complicated recipe. The goal isn't perfection, it's nourishment, both for your body and your spirit. Because here's the secret no one tells you. Cooking for yourself is one of the most loving things you can do. That simmering pot on the stove, That's the sound of someone taking care of you. And that someone is you. Sixth, silence can be a gift or a burden. There's a particular kind of quiet that settles into a home when you live alone. No chatter, no background noise, just the occasional creak of the house or the hum of the refrigerator. For some of us, this silence feels like a warm blanket, wrapping us in peace. For others, it can feel heavy, a constant reminder of being alone. If you've ever found yourself keeping the TV on just for company, or noticed how the tick of the clock seems louder than it used to, you understand this double-edged sword of silence. The good news: you have the power to shape the sounds of your home in ways that comfort rather than unsettle you. For those who find quiet oppressive, consider bringing gentle background noise into your space. A radio tuned to classical music or talk shows can provide comforting human voices without demanding your attention. Nature sounds, rainfall, ocean waves, birdsong, can create a soothing atmosphere. Even something as simple as a wind chime near an open window can bring life to the stillness. But here's something worth trying. Even if you normally dislike the quiet, experiment with short periods of intentional silence. Sit with your morning coffee without turning on the news. Let the sounds of your neighborhood, children playing, leaves rustling, become your background music. You might discover moments of unexpected peace in simply being present with your thoughts. For many seniors, the silence becomes most noticeable at night. If this is when loneliness creeps in, consider an audiobook or podcast to listen to as you fall asleep. The voice of a good storyteller can feel like company without the stimulation of a bright screen. Remember, there's no right or wrong way to feel about silence. Some days it will be your friend. Other days it might feel like an intruder. The key is knowing you have choices. To embrace it when it serves you, or to gently fill it when you need comfort. Your home soundscape is yours to create, one peaceful or joyfully noisy moment at a time. Remember when staying active used to just happen. Chasing after grandkids, tending to the garden, or even just keeping up with household chores kept our bodies moving without much thought. But these days, it's easy to find yourself sitting a little longer, moving a little less, not because you want to, but because no one else there to remind you to get up and go. Here's the thing they don't tell you about living alone. Your body is counting on you to be its personal trainer. And the good news, you don't need fancy equipment or a gym membership to keep moving in ways that feel good. Start by listening to what your body can do today, not what it could do 20 years ago. Maybe that morning walk isn't as long as it used to be, or perhaps bending down isn't as easy. That's okay. What matters is finding ways to move that work for you right now. Turn everyday activities into mini workouts. Waiting for the kettle to boil. Do some gentle calf raises. Watching TV. Stretch your arms overhead during commercials. These movement snacks throughout the day add up without feeling like exercise. Consider creating a simple routine. Maybe 5 minutes of stretching when you wake up, a short walk after lunch, and some light weights while dinner cooks. The secret: pair it with something you already do, so it becomes automatic. If motivation is hard, remember this: every time you choose to move, you reinvesting in your independence. Stronger muscles mean being able to carry your own groceries. Better balance means fewer worries about falls. That's not just exercise, that's freedom in action. And if some days you just don't feel like it, be kind to yourself. Rest is important too. The goal isn't perfection. It's simply keeping your body ready for all the living you still have left to do. Eighth, your sense of time may change. Have you ever woken up and had to pause for a moment to remember what day it was, or found that lunchtime somehow arrived 2 hours earlier than you expected? When you live alone, time has a way of bending and stretching in unexpected ways. Without the usual markers, work schedules, family routines, or social commitments, days can blend together like watercolors on paper. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. Many seniors discover a new rhythm to their days, one that isn't ruled by the clock, but by their own natural energy. Maybe you're someone who now enjoys staying up late to read, or who relishes slow mornings without an alarm. That flexibility can be a beautiful part of this chapter of life. But if you sometimes feel untethered, like time is slipping past without meaning, there are gentle ways to bring structure back. Try marking your week with small, intentional moments. Wednesday could be library day. Friday might be when you treat yourself to fresh flowers from the market. These don't have to be big events, just little signposts that help the week take shape. A wall calendar or daily planner can become your ally, not just for appointments, but for celebrating small victories. Jot down when you called a friend, tried a new recipe, or sat outside for 20 minutes. At week's end, you'll have a record of a life well lived, even in the quiet moments. For many, mealtimes become important anchors. Even if you eat alone, keeping regular breakfast, lunch, and dinner times can create a comforting predictability. Light a candle. Set the table properly. These rituals honor the passing hours with intention. Remember, this new relationship with time isn't something to fear. The way minutes expand and contract when you live alone, that's not time getting away from you. That's you finally having the freedom to experience time on your own terms. Ninth, cleaning can be easy or difficult. Let's talk about something we all deal with, but rarely discuss. Keeping up with housework when you're living alone. There's a funny thing about cleaning when it's just you on one hand. There's less mess to manage. No kids leaving toys around or partners tracking in dirt. But on the other hand, when you're the only one doing it, every speck of dust becomes your responsibility. Some days, cleaning might feel therapeutic, a way to care for your space and yourself. Other days, just looking at the vacuum cleaner might make you tired, and both feelings are completely normal. The key is finding a balance that works for you, not striving for perfection. Start by being honest about what really needs doing. That stack of magazines. If you enjoy them, they're not clutter. They're your library. But that pile of unopened mail, tackling just a few pieces each day can prevent it from becoming overwhelming. Break cleaning into tiny victories. Instead of cleaning the kitchen, try, I'll wipe the counters while my tea steeps. These bite-sized efforts add up without draining your energy. Keep cleaning supplies where you use them. A duster in the living room, glass cleaner under the bathroom sink, so the tools are handy when motivation strikes. For tougher jobs, consider treating yourself to help occasionally. Many communities have affordable cleaning services that specialize in helping seniors. Think of it not as giving up independence, but as wisely conserving your energy for things you enjoy more. There's another layer to cleaning that we don't often talk about. The emotional weight of objects. That china set you never use, but can't part with. It's okay to keep things because they bring you joy, not just because they're useful. Your home should reflect your life, not a magazine spread. Remember, a lived-in home is a loved-in home. Whether you prefer spotless surfaces or cozy clutter, What matters most is that your space feels like yours, a comfortable nest that supports rather than stresses you. 10th, invitations may decrease, but your social life doesn't have to. There comes a time when the phone doesn't ring as often as it used to. Friends may be dealing with their own health issues. Family might assume you're busy, or worse, that you don't want to be bothered, and gradually, the social calendar that once overflowed now has more empty spaces. This shift can hurt, but here's the important truth. Your golden years can still sparkle with connection. It just might look different than before. The secret: becoming the initiator rather than waiting for invitations. Yes, it takes more effort, but the rewards are worth it. Start small. Call a friend for a weekly chat date, not a just checking in call, but a proper appointment where you both share stories over the phone with a cup of tea. Rediscover the art of the visit. Instead of waiting for someone to invite you over, suggest meeting at a favorite cafe halfway between your homes. These destination gatherings often feel easier for everyone. Many seniors find that scheduling regular outings, like meeting at the same diner every first Tuesday, creates anticipation and consistency. Don't overlook new friendships. Senior centers aren't what they used to be. Many now offer everything from photography classes to group travel. That hesitant feeling walking in the first time, everyone else felt it too. By the second visit, you'll likely be greeting familiar faces. Technology can bridge distances in surprising ways. Video calls with faraway family, online book clubs, or even multiplayer puzzle games can create meaningful connection. If screens intimidate you, libraries often offer free tech tutoring. Many older adults discover they enjoy texting grandchildren once they learn how. Most importantly, reframe what socializing means. That brief chat with your mail carrier, the smile exchanged with another customer at the bakery. These micro moments of connection count too. Your social life isn't disappearing. It's evolving into something that fits your current needs and abilities. Because here's the beautiful thing. At this stage of life, you get to design your social world intentionally. So round 11th, self-care becomes more important than ever. There comes a moment when you realize, if I don't take care of myself, no one else will. It's not a sad thought, it's a powerful one. Living alone means you become both the caregiver and the cared for, and that's a role worth embracing with kindness and intention. Self-care isn't about spa days or indulgence, though those are nice too. It's the daily practice of treating yourself like someone worth looking after. That means listening to your body when it's tired, celebrating small victories, and giving yourself permission to ask for help when needed. Start with the basics, because they matter more than we realize. Staying hydrated isn't just good for your body, it's a way of saying I matter. Taking medications on time isn't just responsible, it's an act of self-respect. These aren't chores. They read daily love letters to your future self. Create small rituals that nourish you. Maybe it's applying hand cream every night before bed, or spending 10 minutes in the morning just breathing deeply with your tea. These tiny habits become the foundation of well-being when no one else is there to remind you. Mental self-care is just as crucial. If you're feeling low, don't dismiss it as just getting older. Your emotional health deserves attention too. This might mean setting boundaries with draining people, or giving yourself grace on hard days. Remember, self-care includes preparing for the future while enjoying the present. Keeping important documents organized, having emergency contacts handy, and maintaining your home for safety. These are all profound ways of caring for yourself. Most importantly, know that self-care isn't selfish. It's how you maintain your independence and joy. Every time you choose to look after yourself, you're preserving your ability to live life on your terms. And that's something worth celebrating. If there's one thing I hope you take from our time together today, it's this: living alone as you age isn't about limitations. It's about freedom. The freedom to create routines that suit you, to fill your space with what brings you joy, and to care for yourself exactly as you deserve. Yes, there are challenges. We've talked about many of them. But for every difficulty, there are solutions. For every quiet moment, there's potential connection. For every task that feels overwhelming, there's help available if you're willing to ask. Your independence is precious, but it becomes even more meaningful when paired with wisdom. The wisdom to know when to push forward and when to reach out, when to cherish solitude and when to seek company. So as you go about your week, I hope you'll look at your home and your life with fresh eyes. Notice what's working well. Celebrate the systems you've created. And if there are areas needing adjustment, know that every positive change, no matter how small, is a victory. You've built a lifetime of strength and resilience. Now is the time to use that wisdom to create a life that nurtures you as much as you've nurtured others. After all, this chapter isn't about being alone. It's about being wonderfully, completely yourself.